Going from 22 wins to the Western Conference postseason is a tall task, but so is beating Victor Wembanyama. In only year 2 of San Antonio's Wemby era, the Spurs could be ready to shock the world. With an over-under win total of 35.5, betting projections already envision the Spurs as one of the NBA's most improved teams in 2024-25. But the mid to high 30s isn't getting you into West play-in range. The question is, can San Antonio really go from 60 losses to 500 or better? In short, yes. That path to drastic improvement mostly comes down to the sheer presence of a generational talent like Wembanyama. The 20-year-old averaged roughly 21 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal in 30 minutes per game as a rookie. Borderline superstar numbers from a player who won't be old enough to drink in the US until next year.
He's the definition of a prodigy.
Wembanyama, who also made the all-defensive first team as a rookie, has spent his first NBA offseason dominating at the international level. His minutes, usage, production, and efficiency should continue to rise as an NBA sophomore, and that will put the youngster in rarefied air. Even a conservative projection for next season should see Wemby emerge as an all-star, all-NBAer, and likely Defensive Player of the Year. And quite frankly, players of that caliber are often just too good for their teams to fail. While no all-encompassing stat is perfect, let's use Basketball Reference's value over replacement player to demonstrate. With a VORP of plus 3.8, Wembanyama finished as the league's 17th most valuable player in 2023-24. Let's say we project him as a slightly better 4 VORP player next season. Well, over the last 5 years, there have been 36 instances of a player producing a VORP of at least plus 4 while playing at least 65 games for the same team, the minimum games threshold for major awards. Only one of those 36 instances resulted in a player's team finishing outside the top 10 in their respective conference. And that lone misfire saw Luka Doncic's Mavs tank the final stretch of the 2022-23 season to retain a protected draft pick. If Wembanyama stays healthy and plays the way I expect him to in year 2, San Antonio's floor might already be play-in level.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What?
Now, there are obvious caveats. Most of the top-tier players in question had supporting casts better than the teammates Wemby has in San Antonio. After all, the Spurs just posted a bottom 5 overall record, with a bottom 5 offense and bottom 10 defense, and they have to leapfrog at least 4 teams in the Western Conference bloodbath. But within that Spurs futility last year, there were signs of life, and that's before getting to the additions of Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes. When Wembanyama had any semblance of competent point guard play to support him, basically just Trey Jones, the 22-60 Spurs played like a top 10 team. It was all those experimental Point Sohan minutes, Malachi Branham minutes, Blake Wesley minutes, and Devontae Graham minutes that killed them. Add the literal point guard to the mix, even at CP3's advanced age, and those minutes with competent guard play increased tenfold. Paul's no longer the all-world superstar he once was, but few guards are better at setting the table for an offense and running pick and rolls, particularly with a target like Wemby on the other end of them. Pencil CP in for about 60 games and 25 minutes per game, and the Spurs should be able to ensure Wemby spends most of his floor time with at least one of Paul, Jones, or improving shooting guard Devin Vassell out there with him. Paul will also serve as the ideal mentor for 4th overall pick Stephon Castle. Meanwhile, the acquisition of Barnes flew somewhat under the radar, but he's a solid, durable vet who knows his role and shot nearly 39% from deep over the last 6 years. The Spurs have surrounded Wembanyama with more legitimate depth, improved guard play, and more spacing, and that should have the rest of the West looking over their shoulders. Throw in a rejuvenated Greg Popovich, and is it that far-fetched to ask this team to finish top 10 out of 15? Look, the Spurs are still playing with house money for at least another year. Worst case, they find themselves with another high pick in a loaded 2025 draft. But it just feels like Wembanyama won't let that happen.